Chase Lee Hike with the blue futon, and in the theaters I saw Elvis left the bill. I can't even do an Elvis impression. Just stop. Thank you very much. Elvis has left the building. That's what you get for my intro for Elvis. And what is this movie about? It's a very simple premise, actually. This talks about Elvis. I want to say when he was a child to when he passed away, but his child thing was more, I would say, 15 minutes of the story, and more starts off with Colonel Parker actually meeting Elvis for the first time at a county fair. Then we go to the moon with Elvis and how he decided to live his life with Lisa Marie, with Priscilla, with Colonel Parker, with his friend from Memphis, and how he decided to live. So did I like this movie? So before knowing me, I grew up on Elvis, 80s rock, the Osmonds, so stuff like that, the Monkees. So yes, I've probably seen Donnie Marie more than you. So I don't know if that is like, I should brag about, but it is the truth. So did I like Elvis? I thought it was a great movie. I enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, there are some little nitpicks here and there about, okay, maybe this part of the story is a little bit, pacing issues, but I enjoyed the aspect of knowing and thinking of what Elvis was actually doing in his timeline. So with that, I'll give the negatives of the movie. And I already told you the negative. There is some pacing issues, in my opinion. I would say in the second half, because you start off with him singing. The singing part is mostly at the beginning as well as the end. The middle is more of his, kind of, you could call it a downhill spiral of him getting drafted, the Christmas specials and stuff like that. There's some dialogue in there where I was like very interested of like, was he really mad for being drafted for 2 years? I mean, I understand why he was drafted, and that's what he thinks killed his mother. So there is interesting aspects when you look at it that way of like, okay, I never looked at it that way because, if you've seen the movie Elvis and Nixon, or is it Elvis versus Nixon? Basically when Elvis wanted to be like in the FBI to catch the people doing the drugs. And with that, it's kind of sad that's how he died with drugs. And I think that is because of Colonel Parker behind the back, just completely backstabbing him, doing secret deals behind him to get rid of his debt. And people are confused with that aspect. So with that, I'm done with the negatives. So when we go into the story, I see a lot of reviewers say, I don't know why it's told from the Colonel Parker's point of view. I don't understand it. I don't understand that. They do that because it's a different point of view of what he thinks probably happened at this time of his life. And his backstory of like, who is he really? Why does he have no passport and everything like that? So when people are confused why Luhrmann, I'm pretty sure I'm saying his director's name completely wrong, why he chose to do it under Colonel Parker's, point of view, I think it's actually extremely smart because we're getting a different aspect. Because if we just showed it Elvis's point of view, we wouldn't get that whole Christmas special backstory. We wouldn't get these, casino backstories of him doing deals on the countertops and napkins to get rid of his debt and everything like that. So showing that backstory as well as, being drafted. Is he really going to help the family? Is he really going to help his father, his mother, everything like that? And doing the, secret deals of, being in debt for $8 million to him, just doing backstabbing shit. So telling from that point of view is really smart in my opinion because you don't get that. And I don't think a lot of people don't know about that with Elvis. They just think, oh, Colonel Parker is just in the backstory. No, he was actually in the forefront of Elvis during this time of his life of what he tried to do. There is, I guess you could say, I wish it talked a little bit more about Priscilla Presley and Lisa Marie to some levels, but I understand what they're trying to go for. This is mostly a Colonel Parker versus Elvis style of storytelling. And the editing is completely bonkers in this movie. I enjoyed the different style of editing in this movie. This could get an Oscar nomination for editing this and Everything Everywhere All at Once just because they're very unique and different stylized. The stylization in the first, I would say, 30, 45 minutes of this movie is completely different throughout the whole story because this is when we get to know his backstory of when he was a child and how he liked comic books and how that is actually told. Then we get to, like, I would say the middle half is like with B.B. King and everything like that, and that's more, wide shots and getting the, even though it's wide shots, you also get a lot of close-ups and claustrophobic. You are claustrophobic in a lot of these scenes because you're just like, oh shit. Like, I understand what Elvis is going through, just trying to get through crowds and everything like that, and it does claustrophobic pretty well. And I do love, you got to talk about the stage set pieces of him, Elvis, singing. Absolutely amazing. I love the part where he starts singing the first time, and girls are just like, they don't know what to do. And I think it's funny where they just start screaming, and all the girls, even dudes, are like, yo, that that family's on fire. Like, he slaps, and he's going to slap it nonstop. I do feel sorry for Priscilla Presley for, sticking up to Elvis, for Elvis doing all the shenanigans backstage with all the girls. So Priscilla, I think, is a strong character in this movie about, her loving her husband, but enough is enough. It's the drugs and what Dr. Nix is doing under, his dad, as well as Colonel Parker's, just making him go on stage, do whatever he wants, which is a fun story. I want to say a fun story. I did a VIP with Carrot Top, and he was actually sick when he did his set, and he actually got shot with adrenaline before going on stage, and he's like, yeah, I'm kind of sick, but the show must go on. So he stuck him shut. No, doctor, give him adrenaline so he could keep doing the show. So I find that fascinating with these performers now. What do they actually get behind stage to actually keep doing these shows over and over again? But overall, Elvis, I loved it. Some pacing issues, but other than that, I enjoyed it as an Elvis fan. That's how I was growing up. Pretty sure I'm going to inherit an Elvis pinball machine, so I'm pretty rock solid and pretty happy about that. But like I said, overall, great directing, great acting, great cinematography, editing, and everything like that. Also, I just didn't know that maybe Elvis didn't like doing the Christmas specials, and he wanted to do the more of the political, I want to call it activism songs, but there are some songs where just like, enough is enough. We got to just heal together. So, Elvis will receive a 4.5 and 5 with Futons. It goes at 90%. So, see the Critics News scores gave this one. So, you have critics at 82. So, you have critics at 81% with 173 of them. Audience score fewer than 50, and there's nothing yet. So, I'm pretty sure when I post this tomorrow, it'll have something. But here's critic consensus. The standard rock biopic formula gets all shook up. I see what they did there. And Elvis, with Baz Luhrmann's dazzling energy and stylely perfectly complemented by Austin Butler's outstanding lead performance. I have to agree, absolutely solid. There is some interesting things they did with the music by mixing the Elvis songs with rap music and how they did put it in the BB King part and everything like that. It took me out of the game a little bit, but then it kind of okay, I see what we're doing here. I see what they're doing here. So I did enjoy it overall at the very end. So do you agree with my 90 or the 81? As you can tell, I'm tired. Chase out with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think is Bluetonian-topia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And overall, Elvis, you just got to know the actual story to understand why Colonel Parker is in the movie.